I want to talk to you today about some calculator processes with the TI-89 and the Voyage Calculator as far as how we're going to begin a process of using our calculator for data analysis. So we're going to switch over to the calculator screen in just a moment, but we're first going to set up the calculator so it's got everything for our data.
Okay, the first thing we need to do is we're going to check something on your calculator so that we're on the same page as far as the display. TI has structured these calculators, both the Voyage and the TI-89, and the interface and the functioning is the same. Difference in the calculators is just on the layout with the keyboard and the screen size, but all the functions work the same. But if when you turn on your calculator you see this set of icons, then your app's desktop is turned on. You may prefer working that way. You can move through the icons and make your selections. Personally, I prefer working the calculator through menus, and so I'm going to show you how to change the settings so you will have menus, and then if you want to go back to the app's desktop, then you can do so. I will mention that if you're working on the app's desktop, highlighted here is our data matrix editor, and that's where we're going to be headed as we build our processes for inputting data and analyzing data on these calculators. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change that setting for the app's desktop, and we're going to turn it off. So if you will locate the button that has labeled mode, that's where you change numbers of settings on your calculator. We've got 3 pages, F1, F2, and F3 is how you access those pages, but we're looking for accessing through page 3. That's the place where we're going to be able to turn off the app's desktop. So if you press F3, that brings us to page 3. The last item on this list is our app's desktop. Presently it's turned on. We want to turn that off. So if you will arrow down to the app's desktop choice, right arrow, then highlight off and press enter to save that setting, then you will then have turned the app's desktop off. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and I'll demonstrate how to input data next. Okay, now that we've set up our calculator with the app's desktop turned off, then we are going to go through a process to create a new data file that you'll use for your data analysis, and you only have to do this one time. In the future you'll use this file again and again. One thing you want to do is name the file so that the name's easy to remember and easy to select. Also, when you name the file, we're going to use at least 3 letters for the name. That way this doesn't get in the way of any other processes that you do later on with the calculator. Okay, now we're ready to begin to build our little file that we're going to use for our data. So when you turn your calculator on with the app's desktop off, you'll get a screen that looks something like this. Notice I've got a lot of other stuff in there, but it'll bring you to this screen. So from here we're going to press apps, and choice number 6 is our data matrix editor menu choice. Notice the right arrow, so we're going to right arrow, and we're going to down arrow to highlight new, and we're going to create a new data file that is named XYZ. So when you select new, press enter, you'll get to this screen. It says new. Leave your type as data, main folder, and then put your cursor in the little block besides variable and type in XYZ, and then you're going to press enter a couple of times, And once you do that, then we will finally get to the screen where we will actually input our data. Okay, so we've got our data file set up, and we've created a new file called XYZ. And once you created that new file, that brings us to this screen, which sort of looks like a spreadsheet. One of the important items I would point out is right up here is an indicator that this is a data file. There are other processes with the calculator where we'll have a screen that looks just like this with other information up here, but make sure that this is data. And it's set up with columns and rows as you would have in a spreadsheet. Some of the options that we have that later on in other videos we'll use, setting up a plot, information about things we can do in a cell, if we want to use a header or named information. Mainly we're going to do some calculations, and utility menu is how, once you've got input data, utility is how you can clear columns and remove data for new problems. But this is going to be the interface screen that you'll go to when you begin to do data analysis. So what we're going to do in just a moment is I'm going to go back to the main screen of the calculator, and then I'm going to come back and show you how, once you've got this file set up, how do you get to it, and then in a later video I'll show you how to input data and work with the data. So I'm going to get to another screen here in just a minute, back to the home calculating screen. Actually, I'm just going to turn my calculator off and start again and show you how to get back to the file you just created. Okay, now we're going to go to that file we just created, that data file. So turn your calculator on. Notice I've got my calculator on. The apps desktop is turned off. So I'm at this screen. I'm going to select apps, the button labeled apps. Choice number 6 is the data matrix editor, and then I'm going to highlight open because I want to open the file we just created, that file we named XYZ. So under the open menu, arrow down into the variable, and you'll notice mine has got two names. I've got Bob and I've got XYZ. Bob is another data file I set up on my calculator. I use sometimes because I can remember that. It's easy to get to. And XYZ is probably a little easier to type in on the TI-89. Bob I use on the Voyage because it's got a keyboard, and XYZ is pretty easy on the 89. So once you've gone there and highlighted the XYZ, then on your calculator screen just press enter to continue to your data screen. When you press enter on the data screen, you will be brought back to the screen we looked at earlier. Notice this is data, and now our calculator is ready to receive some numeric stuff, and we're going to put in some numbers in a later video that will drop some numbers in and just do some of the analysis. But that'll show you how to set up your calculator to receive the data, and you've got your file, your XYZ file, ready to go. So until the next time, you might want to check that next little video about how to manipulate and analyze data on the TI-89 and the Voyage Calculator. So till you see me again, here we go. Have a good one.